Hello everyone, Brother Yubby here, and I am bringing you the Amherst Accelgors Week 5, Season 2 of the UAPB against the Baltimore Blastoise and my good friend Hero. So on the right, you will see his team and my team. Quick changes about his team. He does not have Rhyperior or Rabombi. He actually has Kingdra and Ludicolo instead. So keep that in mind when I'm talking about my prep. So first Pokemon I'm bringing is my Alolan Ninetales with Light Clay, Snow Warning, with a lot of HP and speed. That's enough speed to outspeed pretty much everything on his team. And the special attack makes it so that my Freeze Dry is able to OHKO a max HP Kingdra and have a chance to OHKO a max HP Ludicolo, and it OHKOs a Pelipper. Freeze Dry is really great in this match just because it's quad effective against three of his Pokemon, and still super effective against another one or two, I believe. And of course, Aurora Veil, and I have Toxic and Heal Bell. Heal Bell is really important because even though I am bringing a support Sylveon, I didn't want it to have Heal Bell because I wanted it to be able to check the Scizor if it came in. Next Pokemon is Sylveon. It's a Babiri Berry Sylveon with max HP and a good amount of special defense. I actually don't need any physical defense since I'm running Babiri Berry for the Scizor. And from a non-boosting item, Max Attack Adamant Scizor, I'm taking slightly less than 50%, I believe. And Hidden Power Fire is pretty much a guaranteed KO, except if he's running like max special defense or he's running an Akaberry. But this Sylveon is mainly here in order to Wish Pass into my more defensive Pokemon. I'm actually bringing double Assault Vest this week because I really want to be prepared for his Rain Core. It was causing me a lot of problems in my prep and in my mock battles. Next, I'm bringing a Super Gorgeist with the Colbur Berry, and it's max HP, a lot of defense, and then the rest in special defense with a Bold Nature, with a Will-O-Wisp, Leech Seed, Synthesis, and Foul Play. I'm actually able to take anything from a Scizor. Even if he gets to +2, I can live any attack and go for Foul Play and OHKO it. This is also my best check to Diggersby. And then next I'm bringing an Assault Vest Tornadus Therian with Regenerator. The EV spread's a little all over the place, but I'm running 116 Special Attack Modest in order to 2-hit KO almost everything on his team with Hurricane. I hate running Hurricane, but it's needed in this match. And if I plan to break with Tornadus, it's needed. And since he does have Rain, it's not the biggest of deals since I'm running Hurricane because Hurricane's 100% accurate in the Rain. And then I'm running 104 Special Defense with 48 HP. That's allowing me to take 2 Ice Beams from a Life Orb Kingdra, and I take less than like 30% if I have my Veil up, much less than 30%. And 204 Speed allows me to outspeed everything on his team. And then running an Assault Vest Rotom Wash with 248 HP, 212 Special Attack, and 48 Special Defense with a Modest Nature. This is going to allow me to take on his special threats really well, other than possibly Ludicolo. I actually don't switch into a Life Orb Ludicolo really well, so I'm going to have to scout out for that as if I see it at Team Preview and kind of see what kind of set he wants to be bringing. If he's bringing Swift Swim or Rain Dish, I don't see why he would bring Rain Dish, especially considering Life Orb Ludicolo just does a huge number to my team. And it's running, and my Rotom's running Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, and Hidden Power Fire. And lastly, I'm bringing a Life Orb Nidoqueen with Sheer Force, 48 HP, 72 defense, 148 special attack, and 208 speed with a Timid Nature. This is allowing me to outspeed both his Volcanion and his Pelipper, and I can do a lot of damage to both of them. This is also my Hazard Setter. He doesn't have anything to absorb Toxic Spikes. He has a couple things that can get rid of them, possibly defog them away, but something that could be really useful. I will determine it at preview, but Toxic Spikes might really come in handy for breaking down his team. And then I have Earth Power Sludge Wave. Those dual stab is pretty much all I need to hit his team at least neutrally, and a Life Orb Nidoqueen hits his team incredibly hard, especially, and only with 148 special attack, it's hitting incredibly hard. So I will now jump right into the match. So on my side, you see that we have my Alolan Ninetales, Sylveon, Super Gourgeist, Tornadus, Therian, Rotom Wash, and Nidoqueen, and we see that he brings his Raincore with Pelipper, Ludicolo, and Kingdra. Then he brings Zapdos, Diggersby, and a Scizor. His regular Scizor, not Mega. He has Mega Camerupt. So right off the bat, I am noticing that with the right set, Zapdos can be a huge problem. My entire team is special attacking, and if he's running a lot of special defense, that could be a big problem. I would need to make sure I get it Toxic, and that's only on my Ninetales, which is a problem. Scizor could be a problem late game if he's offensive. If he's specially defensive with Sword Stance, it's not as big of a problem. I can take it on really well. And Diggersby, I don't think Diggersby is really the best brain. It has a really good matchup outside of Gourgeist. So we will jump right into the match. And I'm going to lead off with my Tornadus, and he's going to lead off with Zapdos. I'm going to hard switch because I don't want to get static. He Hidden Power Ices, which was a great play on his end, and I just decided to get some damage and scout out the Zapdos. It turns out he has a lot of special defense, and he gets another Hidden Power off. Here I switch into my Sylveon. I know I can take just about it. I know I can take anything. I know I can take Hidden Power Ice, and I'm just going to set off a Wish. Here I probably should have gone into my Nidoqueen because I don't think he would have Hidden Power Iced again, but I decided to Hyper Voice and get a lot of damage off. And so I get the Pelipper down to about 50%, brings in a Zapdos. I can just set up another Wish. I'm very happy just staying in here. And I go into my Ninetales. I'm going to get rid of the Rain and set up my Hail. Here, I do not think he's going to go into his Pelipper. I'm just going to set up a Veil as he discharges, does 18%. And I'm now free to basically do whatever I want. I decided to throw off a Toxic. I want to Toxic the Zapdos, but I didn't get to. Clearly, because he brought in Scizor, I can bring in my Rotom. I'm behind a Veil. He's not going to do much. And here, since it's Rotom Zapdos, I'm going to get Toxic, and I'm just going to Volt Switch out. Toxic isn't that big of a problem. I can Heal Bell with my Ninetales later. And I bring in my Sylveon. Here's, I could either fire off a Hyper Voice or a Wish. I set off a Wish, go into my Gourgeist. Looks like he has Chople Berry. Return does nothing. My Wish did nothing. But it's okay. I can get off a Leech Seed on the Pelipper, keep wearing it down a little bit. And that makes going into my Rotom very free. He U-turns. I figured he would U-turn there. That's the thing. I figured he would U-turn. But Rotom basically was my best wall against anything on his team at this point. There's nothing he could bring in that could just take me out, especially behind my Veil. And so Ludicolo is going to come in. I'm very happy just taking the Giga Drain at this point. It's going to do about 40%. I'm not sure. It's between 30 and 40% because of the Veil. If he's Life Orb, I should say. And I can Volt Switch and get my Ninetales in. So I'm okay just staying in here. He Leech Seeds, I Volt Switch. So I wasn't sure if he was going to be Rain Dish at that point. It didn't look like he was, just off of the previous turn. I believe that's how Rain Dish works. It should work like leftovers at the end of a turn, since he U-turned in. So I'm assuming he was Swift Swim, but this basically gives my Ninetale free reign to Freeze Dry. And I expect him to, here I expect him to go into his Pelipper because last time I Aurora Veiled. This time I expect him to go into his Pelipper and reset the Rain to stop me from getting my Veil up. So here I'm going to Freeze Dry, and even if he stayed in, Freeze Dry was going to Oko that Pelipper, that Ludicolo, and I am take out the Pelipper, which is huge because he no longer has his Raincore as effectively. He doesn't have an effective Raincore because he doesn't have Rain anymore. So that makes Ninetales very threatening, and Ninetales basically did its job. Now its job is just to get up Aurora Veil. Every time it comes in, it's basically just going to be clicking Aurora Veil. So I bring in my Rotom on the Kingdra. I can take anything. That Hydro Pump miss wasn't that big of a deal. As you can see by this next damage, I easily took 2. And I can get a Volt Switch back out into my Ninetales, and I can now set up my Aurora Veil, and the Hail is here to stay, which is really nice on my end. Get up my Veil, he's doing 35%, and now I basically get a, I can Freeze Dry if I wanted, but I decided to Heal Bell. Sorry, this match happened a lot earlier in the week. But I decide to Heal Bell. That cures my Sylveon and cures my Rotom of their poison, which is really nice. And even though he brought in a Scizor, I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. So I make a hard switch into my Tornadus just to scout out for anything that he wants to go for. He doubles into his Zapdos. He's probably going to Roost here. I decide to Icy Wind just to scout out more damage, see how much I could do. And we get 25%, so I'm not going to really be able to do much to it. I go hard into my Sylveon. I can set up a Wish. Here I probably want to keep the Wish, so he double Toxics, and I decide to Hyper Voice. He was probably expecting me to switch into probably my Tornadus or my Rotom. I actually probably should have gone into my Nidoqueen right there, just because it would have healed my Nidoqueen up, and he wasn't going to be able to KO my Nidoqueen with Hidden Power Ice behind my Veil. But I decide here to set up another Wish as he roosts, and this is when I go into my Nidoqueen, which was a huge misplay. I will explain that right now. I forgot that my Veil went down. I'm pretty sure I knew that my Veil went down, but I messed it up in my calc. This happened twice throughout this match. Spoiler, this is one of them. And I thought that Veil was up in my calc, I should say, and I forgot to turn it off. And I saw that my Nidoqueen could live any Hidden Power Ice. So I hard switch, hoping to get this Wish into it as he Hidden Power Ices, a great play on his end, and kills my Nidoqueen, which was a huge offensive presence in this match. But go back into my Ninetales, I get my Veil up for another 8 turns, and here I went for a Toxic, just because if I could Toxic the Zapdos, it would have been very beneficial. But I catch the Ludicolo, and Ludicolo is going to go down to a Freeze Dry here, so not a big deal. Ninetales picking up its second kill of the match. He brings in his Scizor, no big problems there, but we see his Life Orb with Bug Bite. He eats my Colbur Berry, and so this Scizor is looking to be a bit of a problem. Because that did 20-something% behind my Veil, and he brings in his Kingdra. I can take a Choice Specs Ice Beam at this point with Gourgeist, but I don't want to. And I go into my Sylveon because I can take anything. I set up a Wish here, and here I'm just going to Hyper Voice or I'm going to Protect as he switches into his Scizor. I get my Wish back, and here is the other time in which I miscalced because of my Veil. I thought I had my Veil up, and with the Veil up and my Berry, his Life Orbed Bullet Punch was going to do about 30%. I was going to die Toxic, but I would have been able to take out the Scizor, which would have been huge. But unfortunately, it's going to do over about 60% because my Veil isn't up. And he's going to kill me with the Bullet Punch. Sylveon was going to be really helpful in this match at this point, but it's okay. It gives me my Tornadus, and I'm just going to Heat Wave. I do not want to play around with it. And this gives me a free switch in my Rotom Wash. I know he's going to Toxic here, so I just Volt Switch out, which I believe gives me my Ninetales, which gives me Veil again, which is very nice. One of these times I really should have Toxic'd, but it's okay. I get my Veil up. I wish I had Toxic'd that Zapdos very early on in the match. Here he's going to pull a nice double into his Kingdra. My Gourgeist switching, which is fine for me. I have my Tornadus, which can take anything. He Ice Beams, it does less than 30%. So I can just U-turn on out of here and kill the Kingdra, which is very nice and helpful. And I can go right into my Rotom because behind Veil, it can wall just about everything else. He discharges as I Volt Switch. This is the point in the match where I realize that I cannot beat this Zapdos. This Zapdos is a huge problem unless I Toxic it, or I can do something else to get him to screw up and let me take it low enough to where my Tornadus or my Ninetales can kill it. Because those are the only two that outspeed it at this point. So, here I know, when I switch in my Ninetales, I know he's going into his Scizor. And here's where I kind of conduct an idea of what to do. So I'm going to pull a double into my Gourgeist, which will then scare out the Scizor, because he doesn't want to be burnt. And I'm going to Leech Seed on the incoming Zapdos. Since Zapdos is the only thing that can really take a burn at this point, and it will guarantee that it doesn't get Toxic. When that happens, I need to go into my Rotom. So we will see that I pull the double into the Gourgeist. See that he has Rocky Helmet, which I really hadn't activated. And now I Leech Seed on the incoming Zapdos, which I hit, which was great. Get the Leech Seed back. I know he's going to Roost here, so I switch into my Rotom. I'm going to get a little back because of the Leech Seed, but I also know that he cannot switch into this Rotom right now. So I'm going to first click Thunderbolt, which was a bit of a misplay because he roosted. But here I'm just going to start clicking Hydro Pump. And as long as I hit these 2 Hydro Pumps, I die to Toxic, and I keep him low, which is really good. Which is what I need, actually. So he's going to roost here, and as long as I hit this Hydro Pump, which I do, he's going to be down to 8% as I die to Toxic, which allows me to bring in my Tornadus and just kill him off with an Icy Wind, which was huge. So here he goes into his Diggersby. He misplays a little bit here because he goes for an Agility. And since he went for Agility, I can Icy Wind again, which puts him down to neutral speed again, and he has to Agility, and he now outspeeds me. He goes for the return, brings me down, and I get another Icy Wind kill. And here, I know that the Scizor is a big problem. If he has Sword Stance, and he Sword Stances right here on my switch, he wins. But I don't think he has Sword Stance, since he has Life Orb, and he has only shown me Bug Bite and Bullet Punch. And he hasn't clicked Sword Stance on one of my Ninetales switches yet. I don't think he has Sword Stance. Spoiler, it turns out he does, but he didn't click it. He clicked Bullet Punch, which is going to 2-hit KO my Gourgeist with Bug Bite, Bullet Punch into Bug Bite. Here, I go into my Tornadus because I need to regenerate more health, and I switch back out into my Ninetales. That was because I did not take a Bullet Punch at that range, but I do after one more turn of regeneration. So I go into my Ninetales, set up the Snow, or the Hail, die to Bullet Punch, and I now can go into my Tornadus. As he goes for Bullet Punch, as long as he didn't crit me, I win this match, because Heat Wave would kill the Scizor. Even if my Heat Wave missed, thankfully Hail would have taken him out. So your Amherst Accelgors win 1-0 against the Baltimore Blastoise. Great game to Hero. It was probably one of the best matches this season, not just for me, but in the entire league. So I want to say great game. He played incredibly well. He told me after that not only was his prep probably one of his best, but also his playing. He just played out of his ass. He played really, really well, and I'm not going to discourage that. He played really, really well this match. But just thankfully, Aurora Veil and Hail was able to come through on my end. I knew once I got rid of his rain, I was going to have a much easier time beating his team down, especially because of Freeze Dry. Ninetales could beat all of his Rain Core, and then Ninetales and Diggersby as well. The only problem was going to be Scizor. So thankfully, Tornadus was able to pick up 4 kills this match, and Ninetales was able to pick up 2. So it's very, very great match. Next week we take on No City and his Boston Blues. He's another really good friend of mine. He's also in a few other leagues with me right now. So that should be a very fun match, and I look forward to sharing that match with all of you. Have a great day.